Estoy listo.
Ok, muy bien. Hoy estamos con lección 2. Were you able to get the book and everything for the course?
I did.
You did? Okay, perfect. Did you do the activities for lesson 1 in the book?
Yes.
Any questions?
Nope.
Okay, cool. Feel free to send me the pictures of your homework.
Okay.
So that I can check it and just make sure everything's looking good there, okay?
Okay.
Perfecto. Hoy vamos a repasar las vocales, los números y los saludos. And then the new stuff we're going to learn, los artículos, masculino y femenino. We'll talk about shopping or buying things, las compras, los colores y los adjetivos, colors and adjectives, y la charla trivial y me gusta, talking about small talk and things that we like.
Okay.
Primero, la pronunciación. Repite. A.
A.
E.
E.
I.
I.
O.
O.
U.
U.
Nada.
Nada.
Mapa.
Mapa.
Papa.
Papa.
Papá.
Papa.
Okay, muy bien. So do you hear the difference between papa and papá?
Yes. Sí.
Naturally, the second to last syllable of a word is going to receive the emphasis. So potato is papa, right? It gets it on that syllable right there. Sometimes we see words that have what we call this accent mark on top of it, and it means you need to shift the emphasis. And it can make a difference because papa means potato and papa means dad. So you don't want to call your dad a potato. Repite, meme.
Meme.
Leche.
Leche.
Tele.
Tele.
Mini.
Mini.
Bici.
BC.
Fiji.
Fiji.
Loco.
Loco.
Coco.
Coco.
Ocho.
Ocho.
Cuckoo.
Cuckoo.
Voodoo.
Voodoo.
Guru.
Guru.
Muy bien. So if you want to start speaking Spanish, you have to start getting good at introducing yourself to new people, right? Here's a simple way to do it. You want to try and practice this with me?
Sure. Hola, me llamo Margaret. Estoy estudiando español. ¿Podemos practicar?
Sí, por supuesto. Okay. So now let's try the full dialogue to introduce yourself to someone.
Okay. Hola, me llamo Margaret. Estoy estudiando español. ¿Podemos practicar?
Sí, por supuesto.
¿Cómo te llamas?
Me llamo David.
Mucho gusto.
Igualmente.
Quick question. Is encantada, is that something that's still used or is that old school?
In Spanish, it's still used. So that's like saying charmed, which is old school for us, but still very much in play in the Spanish world.
Let's see. ¿De dónde eres?
Soy de México.
Another question on that one. What about de dónde es usted?
También. That's just the usted form.
Okay.
And this is the formal. This is the informal. What we're doing so far is the informal.
Okay. ¿Dónde vives?
Vivo en Denver.
¿Dónde trabajas?
Trabajo en mi casa.
¿Qué te gusta?
Me gusta cocinar.
¿Cuál es tu número del teléfono? De teléfono.
Mi número de teléfono es 720-257-8539.
Estamos en contacto.
Me parece bien.
Hasta luego.
Nos vemos. Okay, perfecto. So just like in English, using the verb gustar to talk about things you like is great for meeting new people and making small talk. Margaret, ¿te gusta ir al cine?
Sí, me gusta ir al cine.
¿Te gusta ir al teatro?
Sí, me gusta ir al teatro.
¿Te gusta ir a los conciertos?
Me gusta ir a los conciertos.
¿Te gusta ir a los museos?
Me gusta ir a los museos.
¿Te gusta escuchar música?
Me gusta escuchar música.
¿Te gusta escuchar radio?
Sí, me gusta escuchar radio.
¿Te gusta escuchar noticias?
Me gusta escuchar noticias.
¿Te gusta tomar fotos?
Sí, me gusta tomar fotos.
¿Y te gusta tomar clases de español?
Sí, me gusta tomar clases de español.
¿Te gusta tomar café?
Me gusta tomar café.
¿Te gusta tomar cerveza?
No me gusta tomar cerveza.
¿Te gusta practicar esquí?
No me gusta practicar esquí.
¿Te gusta practicar snowboarding?
No me gusta practicar snowboarding.
¿Te gusta practicar deportes?
Sí, me gusta practicar deportes.
¿Cómo se dice?
Computadora.
¿Cómo se dice?
Teléfono.
Muy bien.
Televisión. Oficina. Salón de conferencia. Salón de clase.
¿Cómo se dice director?
Director.
An employee?
Empleado.
Muy bien.
Empleada.
In here we have empleada because she's female.
Yeah.
¿Cómo se dice teacher?
Profesora.
Muy bien. Student.
Estudiante.
¿Cómo se dice pencil?
Lápiz.
¿Cuánto cuesta el lápiz?
10. Oh, I always forget cents.
Centavos.
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 Muy bien. ¿Cómo se dice?
Bolígrafo.
¿Cuánto cuesta el bolígrafo?
Cuesta $1.
¿Cómo se dice?
Libro.
¿Cuánto cuesta?
$6.
¿Cómo se dice?
Papel.
¿Cuánto cuesta?
$2.
¿Cómo se dice?
Marcador.
¿Cuánto cuesta?
Cuesta $3.
¿Cómo se dice?
Pizarra.
¿Cuánto cuesta?
Cuesta $10.
Muy bien. Margaret, to learn how to really speak Spanish, you have to learn a lot of words. That's the key component of any language, I think. However, if you just get a dictionary and start looking words up randomly, that's not that helpful. So relevance is the key to this if you want to start personalizing your classes. Is there anything that you want to learn how to say today?
The things, nothing specifically today, but I would say the things that are going to be most relevant to me are household items.
Nice.
Because we're going to need to buy a bunch of stuff for Costa Rica.
So for that's perfect. That's perfect. So start looking around your house, right?
Yeah.
And just trying to identify everything. If you want to start, write it down in English first. Get a notebook. Start writing those words down in English. Feel free to bring them to class or look them up on Google to start that personalization process.
Okay. And then, I like the idea of just sticking Post-its all over the house.
I was going to say, as a bonus, I have sticky notes everywhere. Get the Post-its and just start putting them up. And that's also another activity. So typically I talk about in the context of work, right? Because that's where we spend the most time. In your situation, household items, because you're going to be spending time in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
Another thing I like about the sticky notes is we can create an immersive situation for ourselves right here in Colorado, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people say, oh, you have to move to a foreign country to learn how to speak a new language. And it certainly helps, right? But in many ways, Denver is a bilingual city.
Yes.
Over 30% of the local population speaks Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
You can listen to Spanish on the radio, you can watch it on the TV, and then doing activities like this with Post-its, with sticky notes, it makes it so you're constantly seeing it. So if you have it on your wall or on your computer or on your desk, if you're in the kitchen and like you have a sticky note on the milk that says leche, like that's an immersive thing that's kind of reminding you and keeping it top priority. So cool.
Yep, I like it.
So you probably already know this, but a big difference between Spanish and English is masculine and feminine words, right? Mm-hmm. To kind of ease into it, we'll apply this to people because we have masculine and feminine people as well, right?
Yeah.
So niño means boy, niña means girl. Most Spanish words will just come in the same form, but the ending will either change from an O to an A, depending on the gender of the person. Okay.
Mhm.
And if you look at the bottom left, we have this young lady that's pulling down on her eye. This is some nonverbal communication for you. This means ojo. It's like how in English we would say, keep your eyes open.
Mhm.
In other words, be careful, look out. This rule has exceptions, and I'll do my best to point them out when we come to them. But for the most part, words ending with O are going to be masculine, and words ending with A are going to be feminine. Now, we use the word the in English to talk about what we're talking about. In Spanish, this word changes from el in the masculine form to la in the feminine form. So if I wanted to say the boy, I would say el niño, the girl, la niña. Some words don't end with a vowel. They don't end with O or A. Most often, these are going to end with an R or an N. So they're consonants. And in this situation, we need to add an A to it to turn it into the feminine version, like el profesor or la profesora in the picture here. El patron would be the male boss, or la patrona would be the female boss. Okay. And then there are some neutral words or unisex words. Typically, they end with the letter E.
Okay.
So, el estudiante, la estudiante. If you notice, the word estudiante itself does not change.
Right.
You would change the article depending on the person you're talking about. Next, when we go into the plural version to talk about things, in Spanish, we change el to los or la to las. And then you're typically going to add an S to a word if it ends with a vowel. So el niño changes to los niños. La niña changes to las niñas in the plural form. And if it ends with a consonant, we add es. La mujer changes to las mujeres. And then last little thing here, when we're talking about a mixed gender group, Spanish would use the masculine version to refer to the collective group. It would be acceptable to name them both separately, los niños y las niñas, but collectively we can refer to all the kids, all the children as los niños.
Okay.
Same thing here with like titles, familiar titles, right? You typically default to the masculine version. So if we put together el padre with la madre, which in English we would say the parents, in Spanish you just say los padres.
Okay.
Okay. Quick little recap here. In Spanish, we're going to change the word the depending on the gender of the person we're describing and the quantity, right? El niño, los niños, la niña, las niñas. These two words have to match in both gender and number.
Okay.
Vamos con hermano. Would you say el or la hermano?
El.
El hermano, muy bien. And then plural?
Los hermanos.
Muy bien.
La hermana. Las hermanas.
And now we have siblings.
Los hermanos.
Muy bien. Good.
La madre. Las madres. El padre. Los padres.
Here
Los
again, we're with parents. Muy bien.
La alumna. El alumno. Los alumnos and los alumnos.
By the way, zero distinction between alumnos and estudiantes in Espanol. It's not saying alumni versus students.
Okay. La maestra, el maestro. Los maestros, las maestras. El estudiante, la estudiante. Los estudiantes, and I think those are all women. Las estudiantes. El hombre, la mujer. Los hombres, las mujeres. El profesor, La profesora. Los profesores. Us, os, es, es. Las profesoras.
This one's las profesoras because they're
Profesora. Okay. El hijo, la hija. Los hijos.
okay. So now for the fun stuff. The same concept of masculine and feminine words will apply to everything in Spanish. So for whatever reason, a book is a boy and a table is a girl in Spanish. El libro, la mesa. There's no logic to this. There's nothing inherently masculine about a book or feminine about a table. So sometimes my students are like, why is that masculine? The real answer is that Latin worked this way and Spanish was born directly from Latin. As far as I understand it, actually, most world languages work this way. If not most, a lot of them work this way. And English is more the exception that our words are neutral. So again, ojo, this rule has exceptions, but typically speaking, if it ends with an O, el, if it ends with an A, la.
Okay.
Again, if it ends with a consonant, what do you do, right? Well, you don't know, you can guess masculine or feminine. More than likely, it'll be a masculine word if it ends with a consonant. And then we're gonna add ES to it to make it plural. El marcador, los marcadores.
Okay.
And just because we've learned one of these words, there aren't a lot of them out there, but words that end with the letter Z have a special rule for spelling. Doesn't change the pronunciation at all. So el lápiz is singular. We need to change this Z to a C and then add ES to make it plural. Los lápices.
Okay.
So again, masculine, feminine, singular, plural, all these words have to match in both number and gender. Vamos a practicar.
El lápiz, los lápices. El papel, los papeles. El libro, los libros. El bolígrafo, los bolígrafos. La mesa, las mesas. La pizarra, las pizarras. La clase, las clases. La planta, las plantas. La silla, las sillas. El marcador, los marcadores. El teléfono, los teléfonos. El caramelo, los caramelos. La mochila, las mochilas.
Muy bien.
El escritorio, los escritorios.
Muy bien. Excuse me. So today we're going to learn a quick dialogue, how to buy something. Okay.
Okay.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Estoy bien, gracias. ¿Cuánto cuesta el lápiz?
El lápiz cuesta 10 centavos.
Bien. ¿Cuánto cuesta el papel?
El papel cuesta $1.
Llevo el papel y el lápiz.
Gracias, chao.
Nos vemos.
Pregunta.
¿Puedo hacer una pregunta?
Sí, claro.
¿Cómo se dice llevo? ¿Qué significa llevo?
Good question. So that means I'll take it.
Okay.
That's how we would say I'll take it, right? So at the end of the transaction, you say I'll take it. Llevo, whatever it is you're buying.
Okay.
Vamos a practicar. Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Estoy bien, gracias. ¿Cuánto cuesta el lápiz?
El lápiz cuesta 10 centavos.
Bien. ¿Cuánto cuesta el libro?
El libro cuesta $9.
Llevo el lápiz y el libro.
Gracias, chao.
Nos vemos.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Estoy bien, gracias. ¿Cuánto cuesta el bolígrafo?
El bolígrafo cuesta $1.
Bien, ¿cuánto cuesta el papel?
El papel cuesta $2.
Llevo el bolígrafo y el papel.
Gracias, chao.
Nos vemos.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Estoy bien, gracias. ¿Cuánto cuesta el marcador?
El marcador cuesta $3.
Bien, ¿cuánto cuesta la pizarra?
La pizarra cuesta $10.
Llevo el marcador y la pizarra.
Gracias, chao.
Nos vemos.
Muy bien. I is a good phrase for you to know. It means there is or there are. Por ejemplo, hay 3 lápices. Hay un lápiz azul. Margaret, ¿cuántos libros hay?
Hay 6 libros.
¿Cuántos marcadores hay?
Hay 4 marcadores.
¿Cuántos bolígrafos hay?
Hay 8 bolígrafos. Wow, how do you say that one again?
Bolígrafos.
Bolígrafos.
Ahí está, perfecto. ¿Y cuántos lápices hay?
Hay 10 lápices.
Muy bien. ¿Cuántos teléfonos hay?
Hay 9 teléfonos.
¿Y cuántas plantas hay?
Hay 5 plantas.
¿Cuántas pizarras hay?
Hay un pizarra.
Una.
Una.
En este caso, porque es la pizarra.
Okay.
¿Cuántas maestras hay?
Hay una maestra.
¿Y cuántas estudiantes hay?
Hay 4 estudiantes.
Repite, 11,
11,
12,
12,
13,
13,
14,
14,
15.
15.
Muy bien. I think you were asking me about this in the last class. Yeah,
We talked about it. Yeah, I haven't looked at YouTube for this yet.
Okay, that's okay. Well, the rolling R, the trill, should be exaggerated in Spanish, right? So there's a great phrase for you to know, que rico. And Spanish speakers say that when they're talking about something that's delicious. Que rico, right? Now, initially, a lot of Americans learning Spanish would tend to say rico, que rico. And, you know, more than likely you're going to be understood. You know, I don't see this as an area where it's like, if you can't do it, you should be beating yourself up about it, right? There's a certain amount of physiology referring to the muscles in your face. You have over 50 muscles in your face. And as you're growing up and you're learning how to speak your first language, that's all coming together for you.
Right.
So the average age is about 16. After 16, your face has essentially fully developed. And the implication for that is that if you grow up in a certain region, like I'm from the South, I'm from the Southeast, I'm from Georgia originally, I should have a really strong Southern accent. But I moved to Colorado when I was 12. So as a child, I had an extremely strong Southern accent. But when I moved here when I was 12, gradually that went away, right?
Right.
Now I have a very strange accent. Nobody can quite place where I'm from. Most people think I'm from the Midwest, which is really funny to me. I mean, it kind of, if I'm from the South and then the West and we combine, we meet in the Midwest, that's what my accent turned into. I don't understand it, but that's what most people guess when they talk to me. Anyways, I say all that just to let you know, try to learn this, but if you get to a point, if after a couple of weeks you've really tried and you still can't do it, don't feel bad, okay?
Okay.
So I think it's helpful to know that the mechanics of this are typically not what people are imagining, right? I think most people, myself included, because I'm not a native Spanish speaker, I learned this when I was 18. You tend to have it in your head that it's something you do with your tongue. And it's really more of a vibration that you kind of push up through your throat and then out through your tongue, but it doesn't start in the tongue. As small children, and I don't know if you have kids, but most kids, at some point, boys pretend like we are a car, like revving a car engine. And that's the kind of the same sensation. A lot of girls will pretend like they're growling, like a cat or a lion or something like that, or purring. Purr, purr. That's the sensation that you're looking for. So I don't know if you can like mimic a cat purring or something like that, but that's really more.
Nope, but I'll try. Like I will. I have it on my to-do list to look at YouTube and try it. So
when to do it is an important question to answer. I think this is the more important question to answer.
Yeah.
If it's a singular R that comes in the middle or at the end of the word, it does not get rolled. Okay?
Right.
It turns into a very subtle sound. It's almost like a D sound for certain words that we say, right? So if we look at this column on the left, you can try and repeat after me. Pero.
Pero.
Pera.
Pera.
Caro.
Caro.
Cero.
Cero.
Very subtle. That was perfect the way you were pronouncing that. Now, in the middle, we have two R's, and that's when we're going to roll it.
Okay.
Perro.
Yeah.
Give it a try. It's just me and you. Just me and you. Give it a shot.
There's nothing going to come out. Pero. Yeah, I can't do it.
Perra.
Pera.
Carro.
Carro.
Cerro.
Cerro.
Okay. So work on it. You said one thing, I can't do it, right? I don't want you to say that. That's the one thing I don't want you to do. I want you to say, I can do it. I can do it. Si se puede, right? If you're optimistic about something, there's a good chance you'll eventually be able to do it.
I will learn to do it. Is the YouTube station down there, is that for a rolling R video?
That's one of the videos. Yeah, I can pop that into the chat for you if you'd like.
Okay.
And like I said, some people call it the rolling R. Some people call it, I think, a trilling the R.
Okay.
So sometimes you just have to find something that makes sense to you.
Okay.
I will say, conversationally, not to worry about it so much, just because of the context, people are going to understand you. So if you roll it and you shouldn't, or if you can't when you should, chances are you're still going to be understood. However, it can change the meaning of a word. So these are all real Spanish words.
Right.
On the left, pero means but, like the conjunction word, I want to go to the mall, but I have to work. On the right, it's a male dog, right? Perro. On the left, pera is the fruit pear. Perra is the female dog. Caro means expensive. Carro means car. Cero means zero. Cerro is a hill in the mountains. So it does change, but again, chances are you'll be understood depending on the context of the situation.
Okay.
Another time where you have to roll it is if it's a singular R, but it's the first letter of a word. So try to repeat after me. Rancho.
Rancho.
Recibir.
Recibir.
Río.
Río.
Rojo.
Rojo.
Ruso.
Ruso.
Okay. Keep trying. Think about the cat.
Okay.
¿Cuál es tu nombre?
Mi nombre es Margaret.
Perfecto. So keep in mind, these are possessive adjectives. Tu, mi. These words are going to interact with each other in a conversation. ¿Cuál es tu nombre?
Oh, sorry. Mi nombre es Margaret.
¿Cuál es mi nombre?
Sorry.
¿Cuál es mi nombre?
Oh, sorry. Tu nombre es David.
Muy bien. Repite. Rosado.
Rosado.
Gris.
Gris.
Negro.
Negro.
Azul.
Azul.
Verde.
Verde.
Amarillo.
Amarillo.
Anaranjado.
Anaranjado.
Rojo.
Rojo.
Morado.
Morado.
Marrón.
Marrón.
Blanco.
Blanco.
¿Cuál es el color del lápiz?
El lápiz es amarillo.
¿Cuál es el color de la computadora?
La computadora es negro.
And here we're going to say negra because it's la computadora.
Okay.
¿Cuál es el color del libro?
El libro es rojo.
¿Cuál es el color del papel?
El papel es blanco.
¿Cuál es el color de la mesa?
La mesa es marrón.
¿Cuál es el color de la pizarra?
La pizarra es blanca.
¿Cuál es el color de la planta?
La planta es verde.
¿Cuál es el color de la silla?
La silla,
Silla.
la silla es gris.
Es negra. It's black. It might be hard to see depending on what kind of computer you're using. ¿Cuál es el color del marcador?
El marcador es anaranjado.
Ahí está. ¿Cuál es el color del teléfono?
El teléfono es azul.
¿Cuál es el color del perro?
El perro es gris.
¿Cuál es el color de la rosa?
La rosa es rosada.
¿Cuál es el color del reloj?
El reloj es blanco y negro.
Muy bien. Me gusta el español. I like Spanish. Can you read the next two examples?
Me gusta el fútbol. Me gusta la comida mexicana.
Muy bien. If you want to say you like, you say te gusta. Read these three examples.
¿Te gusta el español? ¿Te gusta el fútbol? ¿Te gusta la comida mexicana?
And to ask a question, you just say it with an inquisitive tone in your voice. ¿Te gusta? ¿Te gusta el fútbol?
Sí, me gusta el fútbol.
¿Te gusta la pizza?
Me gusta la pizza.
¿Te gusta el tigre?
Me gusta el tigre.
¿Te gusta la película Desperado?
No entiendo.
No sé.
No sé.
No sé. No sé means I don't know. I'm assuming you're saying I don't know instead of I don't understand, right?
Yes.
Muy bien. Sí, no sé. You've never seen Desperado?
No.
Classic movie. It's from like the 90s or something. I think it was one of the first Quentin Tarantino movies. So it's crazy. It's a fun movie to watch to get you in the mood for Spanish class.
Okay.
It's a Hollywood movie. It's mostly in English. They speak a lot of Spanish. I love the soundtrack. It's got really good music in it, but it's about this mariachi guy that instead of guitars in his guitar case, he has a bunch of guns and he goes around like shooting up these bad guys and saving the day, right? So
I'll have to check it out.
¿Te gusta la cerveza?
No me gusta la cerveza.
¿Te gusta la playa?
Me gusta la playa.
¿Te gusta la guitarra?
Me gusta la guitarra.
¿Te gusta la nieve?
Me gusta la nieve. Is that winter?
La nieve means snow.
Snow. Okay.
No. ¿Te gusta Colorado?
Me gusta Colorado.
¿Te gusta la comida mexicana?
Me gusta la comida mexicana.
¿Te gusta el fútbol?
Me gusta el fútbol.
¿Cuál es tu deporte favorito?
El fútbol es mi deporte favorito.
Sí, muy bien. ¿Cuál es tu comida favorita?
Pizza es mi comida favorita.
¿Cuál es tu animal favorito?
Tigre es mi animal favorito.
Okay, so now I got to ask you. You're answering based on the pictures, right?
Yeah.
Try to answer based on you. The pictures are just as an example, but I'm literally asking you what your favorite food is.
Okay.
¿Cuál es tu comida favorita?
Mi comida favorita es mexicana.
Es la comida mexicana, ¿verdad? Wow,
Yeah.
qué interesante. ¿Cuál es tu animal favorito?
¿Cómo se dice? Deer en español.
Deer?
Yeah.
Good one. El venado.
Venado.
Venado. Muy bien, el venado. ¿Cuál es tu película favorita?
Mi película favorita es Clue.
Is that a movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, Clue. Okay.
It's super campy. It's probably from the 80s. It has a bunch of great actors in it.
Okay. Está bien. No, I was thinking of the board game Clue.
Yeah, it's like that.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Muy bien. No sabía. Ok, bien. ¿Cuál es tu bebida favorita?
Mi bebida favorita es agua.
¿Cuál es tu lugar favorito?
Lugar means place. Yes.
Sí.
Mi lugar favorito es la playa.
¿Cuál es tu instrumento favorito?
Mi instrumento favorito es piano.
El piano, muy bien.
Piano.
¿Cuál es tu estación favorita?
Mi estación favorita es el verano.
¿Y cuál es tu estado favorito?
No sé. Mi estado favorito es Colorado.
¿Cuál es tu plato favorito?
Does that mean like an actual dish?
Yeah, exactly. Plate,
Okay.
dish. Mhm.
Mi plato favorito es tacos.
¿Cuál es tu deporte favorito?
Mi deporte favorito es, ¿cómo se dice? Basketball.
El basket. El baloncesto is the real name, but everybody just says el basket.
El basket. Okay.
Muy bien. A mí me encanta el basket. Bien, repite. Grande.
Grande.
Chico.
Chico.
Bonito.
Bonito.
Feo.
Feo.
Nuevo.
Nuevo.
Viejo.
Viejo.
Caro.
Caro.
Barato.
Barato.
Rico.
Rico.
Pobre.
Pobre.
Bueno.
Bueno.
Malo.
Malo.
¿Qué significa grande?
Big.
Chico.
Small.
Bonito.
Pretty or beautiful.
Feo.
Ugly.
Nuevo.
New.
Viejo.
Old.
Caro.
Cheap.
Barato.
Expensive. Oh,
Ri-
did I get those backwards?
eh,
Yeah, caro is expensive. Barato is cheap.
Muy bien.
Yeah.
Rico.
What was that one again?
Rico means rich.
Rich. Okay.
We also learned it today that it means delicious, but
Right.
typically speaking, it means rich. So, it's kind of like sometimes if we like a chocolate mousse cake or something, we call it really rich.
Yeah.
So, there's some type of correlation there.
Okay.
Pobre.
Poor.
Bueno.
Good.
Malo.
Bad.
Perfecto. Ciao.
Adios.
All right, so that was it for lesson number 2. Muy bien. We still have time, so we can go on to lesson number 3 a little bit.
Okay.
And actually, give me 1 second. I need to look at something here. So when's your next trip to Costa Rica?
March 15th.
Oh, wow. Real soon.
Yeah.
Ooh, no pressure for me.
Right?
Just have to teach you how to speak Spanish before less than in a month. No problem. You won't be 100% fluent, but
no.
you'll feel it different. You'll be surprised. I
Okay.
guarantee you're going to be extremely surprised at how much Spanish you're going to speak by the time you get there.
I have no expectations, but I'm happy to be pleasantly surprised.
Oh, come on, really? Sorry, sometimes my computer makes things disappear from me.
That's okay. Are you ready for this storm?
We'll find out, right?
Right. I know I'm supposed to be driving my youngest son around this afternoon. A little stressed.
There we go. I'm having some kind of technology issues. Technology's great until it's terrible.
Yes.
So I just want to spend, since we finished that lesson a little bit faster, a minute talking about this. Did you get this book too? The 5 Easy Steps to Speak Spanish with Confidence?
I did. I downloaded it.
Okay.
But
Cool.
I haven't read it yet.
Perfect. Yeah. This is just read it in conjunction with the steps. So this is where I feel like most people, there's a combination of reasons why people don't actually learn how to speak a language. It's 100% possible under the right set of circumstances. And honestly, you can become fluent in 3 to 6 months. My goal is to help people become fluent in 3 months, right? Or conversational, I should say. That's not quite fluent, but that means if we were under the right set of circumstances and could work together daily for 3 straight months, you would go to Costa Rica and have 0 problems speaking in the vast majority of your situations, okay? Mm-hmm. But where most people, there's a combination of reasons why that doesn't happen. First and foremost is the program that you might be in, okay? If you're not in a program geared towards conversation, you're not going to learn how to speak the language. There's a big difference between learning Spanish and learning how to speak Spanish. Yeah. And unfortunately, even still to this day, most Spanish teachers don't quite get that, okay? Mm-hmm. Here in the United States, anyway. In Europe, they do this. And I had the pleasure of living in Europe as well as South America and getting exposed to this. And that's why I'm able to share it with my students. But so A, if the program's not geared towards conversation, you're not going to learn how to speak the language. B is if you don't study and you don't practice the right way and you don't have the right inspiration. So today what we're going to talk about a little bit is inspiration. So the first easy step to learn how to speak Spanish is the foundation of everything. So it's super important. And what I'm about to tell you is designed to get you motivated, because you have to also do your part, right? Right. So this is designed to get you motivated so that you learn how to speak, you're in the mindset to do what, to wake up and say, top priority, I'm going to do what I have to do to learn how to speak Spanish today, right? And if you do that, then chances are you'll be speaking Spanish. And I talk about this with my students because I was a student too. I am just like you. And I think that's one of the greatest things about learning how to speak Spanish with me, as opposed to a native Spanish speaker, at least initially, because I understand. I know exactly what you're going through. I had to take this course 3 times. It wasn't this course, and that's why I had to take it 3 times, but it was Spanish 1 back in 2001, and that was the possibilities that were available at the time. So I had taken Spanish 1 in high school. That didn't work, so I decided to move to Spain, and I took Spanish 1 again while I was in Spain, and then that didn't work. So I moved back to the United States and I took Spanish 1 again at CU Boulder, right? And I also had plenty of experience messing around with software applications along the way and stuff like that. But the point is, to go back a little bit to the first immersion trip that I went on. So I took Spanish in high school. It was a joke, you know. Did you take Spanish in high school or college by chance?
A little bit. Well, it's middle school more than anything. I think I took a little bit in high school, but
So unfortunately, if the motivation isn't there, and that's typically what happens in high school, is the kids don't want to be in Spanish class. The kids do not want to learn how to speak Spanish. So if you don't want to learn how to speak Spanish, you're not going to learn how to speak Spanish, right? I didn't want to learn Spanish when I was in high school. It wasn't until I graduated and got into the real world that I realized how awesome it would be to learn how to speak Spanish. So that's why I decided to move to Spain right when I graduated. And I was there for 2 weeks. I had been in Spain for 2 weeks and I was doing a complete immersion, full on immersion. I was living with a host family that nobody in that family spoke English. And then I was going to 4 hours of intensive Spanish lessons per day. And my teacher did not speak English. Nobody spoke it. I was completely on my own. I was 18 years old and could not talk to people. And it was the worst experience. I can honestly say everybody talks about what a great experience it is to travel abroad and go abroad. And I was miserable. I was ready to give up. I was about to give up. I called my mom. She told me, you know, I'll buy you a plane ticket to come home. I don't want you to be miserable if you're over there. And I said, okay, well, you know, let me think about it, because I recognized if I go home, I'm going home in shame, right? Like I'm giving up, I'm quitting, I'm giving up, I'm admitting that I can't learn how to speak Spanish. So I said, let me think about it. I'll call you tomorrow and let you know. So before I went to bed that night, I wrote down on a piece of paper this list of reasons that I wanted to learn how to speak Spanish that I share with all of my students. The thing is, if you don't know why you're learning how to speak Spanish, if you don't really have a strong motivation, you're not going to learn it, right? You're going to give up. It takes too much time and effort and energy to learn how to speak Spanish. So if you're not highly motivated, it's very easy for you to say, why am I doing this? I'll give up, right?
Yeah.
So these were my reasons at the time. I wanted to be able to speak with my neighbors. I had just moved out of my house, my dad's house. I was living with some buddies. We found an apartment that was available in a building that was 98% Mexican. Like there was no English being spoken in that apartment building. You know? You come home from work and you're hearing music and, you know, the Spanish music. You're smelling Mexican food, and you know the vecinos, the neighbors, are kind of, you have all these awkward, just
right.
I wanted to talk to people. I like talking to people. I like the Latinas, so I was hoping, you know, if I learn a little Spanish, I might have a little more luck in that department. I wanted to travel around. My dream was to buy a motorcycle and drive it all the way down to Argentina at that point in time. So I was like, man, learning Spanish will help me do that.
Have you done that yet?
Well, I made it to Argentina. I didn't buy it, you know, right after that, the big, huge war on drugs things started happening and Mexico got super dangerous. So I was like, yeah, better not do that. But yeah, I have traveled all over South America. It's amazing. At this time too, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I started working in construction when I graduated high school. And here in Colorado, who builds things, right? Spanish speakers. So I wanted to be able to, again, speak with everybody that I worked with. I realized very quickly, working outside in construction in the Colorado winter, that I did not want to do that forever. So I figured being bilingual would help me get a more professional job inside somewhere.
Yeah.
And then finally, this is 2001. It was right when globalization was starting to become a thing, you know, and I kind of imagined a life where I would be living for a few years in one country and living for a few years in another country. And so I just wanted to be flexible, right, with where I lived and I worked. So when I wrote that down and I got up the next day, I was like, okay, wow, you know, I've got some real genuine reasons for wanting to learn how to speak Spanish. So I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna keep going. But I did have to change my attitude a little bit, right? I wasn't getting what I needed from my Spanish classes. So this is a really important point that I make with my students. And like we saw earlier in the lesson, right? You have to personalize this experience.
Right.
I never got the opportunity to do what I'm about to do with you as a Spanish student early on, right? When I was in Spain, I started thinking, you know, my teacher in class, I'm sure she was a great teacher. I just couldn't understand her. It was 4 hours of blah, 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 and writing things on the whiteboard. And I didn't understand what was written on the whiteboard. I didn't understand what she was saying to me. But I started looking at my like day-to-day interactions with people. So I realized, you know, what do I need to learn how to say? Because I can't even ask this lady how to say this stuff, you know?
Mhm.
What do you do when you're in a new place? You have to go out and buy something on almost a daily basis. A pack of gum, a bottle of water, a bag of chips, whatever it is. So I was shopping, I was buying things. I was ordering food at restaurants on a daily basis. And then you have the social interaction piece, right? You need to socialize, you need to make friends. What does that mean? You have to start introducing yourself to people and talking about things that you would talk about when you're meeting new people, right?
Mhm.
So I started kind of creating my own little program. And this is before internet and smartphones, you know, it's 2001. So I was walking everywhere with a big, huge Spanish English dictionary with me. And, you know, I'd go into a restaurant and I would start translating the menu, right?
Okay.
And when I started kind of doing this, the result was not much time later, only a week later. This is now my 3rd week in Spain after kind of personalizing this program for me. I got in a taxi. That's why there's a picture of this taxi. I'd been out in this popular area of Barcelona called La Ramblas. It's kind of like here in Denver, the 16th Street Mall, you know, kind of an outdoor walking area, lots of bars, restaurants, shops, that sort of thing. And I just spent the whole night walking up to people and trying to introduce myself and make small talk with them, right? You know, at the end of the night, I got into a taxi and I, you know, told the guy where I was going. And we talked the whole way home. It was about a 15-minute long conversation that we had. I didn't even realize it, but I was doing it in Spanish. I got out, paid, went upstairs, laid down and started falling asleep, and then like jumped up out of bed because I realized I was just speaking Spanish to that guy back there, right? When you start speaking a language, you don't even know it. It's something that happens subconsciously that you don't even recognize when you start doing it. So anyways, this was a very powerful learning experience for me, and that's why I like to share it with my students, because you can learn a lot from this too, right? When you know why you're learning the language and then you personalize it to make sure that you're learning what you want to learn, what in this situation, what I needed to learn, the result is you're going to start speaking Spanish very quickly, very quickly. So what I want you to do for easy step number 1 is to get a notebook that you dedicate to Spanish. It's only going to have to do with Spanish, right?
Yep, I already have it.
Divide it into 5 different sections.
Okay.
And what we're going to talk about today is our reasons and objectives. The 5 sections are reasons and objectives, dialogues, vocabulary, conversation starters, and personal reflection. Okay. So for you, you can write down either personal or professional. I find most people have a combination of personal and professional goals. Try to write down 3 to 6 reasons real quick and then tell me what they are.
So mine would be, I've always wanted to learn Spanish because I grew up in California and half of California speaks Spanish.
Yes, it
So
does.
I always felt like I was missing out, you
Okay.
know? Costa Rica, obviously. And then should I ever re-enter the workforce once my children are grown, I just think it'd be a great thing to have in my bucket.
For sure. What kind of work did you do before?
I've done lots of different volunteer work. I worked at a church. I've done tax work. I've done all sorts of just rando.
Cool.
Yeah.
For what you just told me, volunteering at a church, you can speak a lot of Spanish here, and that would actually be a great way for you to practice,
Yeah.
right? I don't know what religion you are. I don't think it matters, just as long as you understand that if you go to a Catholic church, you're gonna meet a lot of Spanish speakers in the Denver area. I live in a Spanish part of Denver, and the church over here, it has an English service at 8 o'clock in the morning, and like 15 people go.
Yeah.
But they have like 4 different Spanish masses on Sundays, and there's just lines wrapped around the buildings, right? So, go to church in Spanish. So cool. I want to invite you to keep thinking about this, to keep elaborating, to keep writing out this list of reasons why you're learning how to speak Spanish, because this is to motivate yourself. I call this book 5 Easy Steps to Speak Spanish with Confidence, so you can learn how to speak Spanish in 3 months or less. The steps are easy. The steps that I spell out are easy. Doesn't mean learning Spanish is going to be easy, right?
Right.
If you don't have the right motivation, you're going to give up. So I say this to you with the hopes that you can keep thinking about this and keep developing an internal understanding of why you're learning Spanish so that you'll keep going, right? Give me 1 second.
Aw.
Okay, my next class is just about to start, so we're going to stop here for today. Do you have any questions? ¿Tiene preguntas para mí?
No, I don't think so.
All right, start working on that book, 5 Easy Steps, if you want to. Think about what we just talked about today. Start working on your notebook, and we'll go from there.
Okay, thank you. Gracias.
Vale, nos vemos.
Nos vemos.